Okay, the contract is 3 no trump, and the opening leader has led the queen of spades, and the dummy comes down on the table. Now I want to go back to the very first lesson. You recall in that first lesson, I told you how important it was to listen to the bidding. At that time, we were talking about the opening lead, how very important it was to pay attention to the bidding when you were trying to decide what you want to lead. Now I want to go back to that statement. When you were listening to the bidding, you were sort of guessing. You sort of had an estimate when the opening bid was made, what she had. Then when the responder bid, what did he have? When the rebid came out, now what does the opener have? Does the opening bidder have? And back and forth and back and forth. Once the dummy is tabled, you now can see exactly what the dummy, he was the responder, but he has now become the dummy. So you count your points, you count the points in dummy, and maybe just pat yourself on the back if you were pretty close to knowing exactly what that responder had. He's now the dummy. Going back to the bidding, you try to get the estimate of what you think the responder had, what the opening bidder had, the one who's going to be the declarer. Add that up, subtract from 40, and that'll give you some kind of indication as to how many points your partner has. Maybe 7 or 8, maybe only 2 or 3. Where would those points be? So while the few seconds that are passing by while the declarer is making her plan, you, the defenders, need to be making your plan. How are you going to set this contract? Where are your tricks coming from? Once the declarer goes ahead now and decides what card she's going to pull from the dummy, now the battle is on. The race has begun. You're going to be trying to set the contract, and she's going to be trying, the declarer is going to be trying to make the contract. Now, remember, I told you from that first lesson, as each card is played, pay particular attention to what that declarer is playing. Count her points. If she's in no trump, she's got anywhere from 15 to 17 points. If she's taking the first trick with an ace, that's 4 of her points. If she subsequently comes out with a king, that's 7 points. She plays another ace, that's 11 points. She's got anywhere from 4 to 6 points left. You can just about figure out where the rest of her points are. And then from that, you'll get some kind of indication of what your partner might have. So it's very, very important to be watching the declarer's hand as each card is played, trying to get a count on how many cards she has in each suit, so that near the end of the hand, if it's the difference between throwing one card in this suit or a card in another suit, you don't inadvertently throw the wrong card. And that's very embarrassing, but it happens to all of us. It happens to all of us too many times. Okay, so what I'm saying is to you, not only when you're planning your defense, but as the hand is being played, you need to be trying as much patience, much particular attention as you can to what the declarer is playing. It's hard, it's a lot of work, and it's exhausting. But once you start making yourself do that, I'm sure you're going to see that your level of game is going to greatly improve. Okay, so we found out last week that as the declarer is playing the hand, you've got 13 cards you're playing in each hand. The defenders cannot talk verbally to each other. You cannot say, partner, I am void in diamonds, please lead a diamond. You can't do that. Certainly in these virtual games we're playing, you must not be on your phone, and I know none of you would be. If you're playing in the room across from each other, you can't have some sophisticated secret system of signals. These are not allowed. They can get you banned from the ACBL. But the defenders should not despair. You do have a way to communicate with each other through a system of signals. We have 3 very important defensive signals. These signals are the attitude, one I covered last week. The one we're going to look at today is the count signal, and the one that we're going to finish up with next week is the suit preference signal. Last week I covered the attitude signal. Basically, if when your partner leads, she makes the opening lead, if you like what she led, perhaps you have a doubleton in it, perhaps you have a big card in it, you tell her so by playing a high card, like a 6 or a 7 or whatever you're dealt. If you are not interested in the suit, you don't particularly like what she led, you have no reason for encouraging her to continue that suit, leading that suit, then you play the lowest card you have. That's basically the attitude signal. All beginners play it. This is the first one that all bridge players learn, and it's used extensively by everybody. Now, I did cover a few little extra things about the attitude signal, but I did just basically hit the basics. I did cover particularly if you hold the Queen Jack and your partner has led a big card, if she's led either the ace or the king, and you hold specifically the Queen Jack and maybe a couple of little ones. You can tell your partner that you hold the Jack. If you play the Queen under her ace or king, you are promising her that you can take the next trick, that either you had a singleton, Queen, or else you have the Jack. Now, why is this important? It may be that the opening leader would like to get to her partner's hand to tell her to lead a different suit. Now, I want to talk about this. I do not have it in the notes today, but I want to mention it today. I'm going to cover it quite a bit next week when I do suit preference. But let's just look at it. I just want to mention it today because I think you might be coming across this some this week in some of the games that you play. All right, let's say that the contract is spades. Trumps or spades, it's 4 spades. Your partner is led the king of hearts. And you have the Queen Jack X of hearts. You play the Queen of hearts. Your partner now knows that she can safely underlead her ace of hearts to get to you because you've said you can take it either with a jack or you're going to trump it. The size of the card that she leads, the size of the heart that she leads to get to you, is an indication of the suit that she wants you to return when you get in with your jack. This is classic suit preference. This is what I'm going to cover next week, so I don't want you to get hung up on it today. I just want to mention it. So we know the hierarchy that spades outranks hearts, diamonds, and clubs. Hearts outranks diamonds and clubs. Diamonds outranks clubs, and clubs is at the bottom. So if when you're counting on suit preference, you disregard the trump suit. So in this, my illustration, the trump suit is spades. You disregard the suit that is being led, which is hearts. So there are 2 suits left, diamonds and clubs, in this illustration that I'm giving you. If your partner leads a very small, say, let's say she leads the 3 of hearts to get to your jack of hearts, she is telling you, partner, when you get in with a jack of hearts, please return a club, the lower ranking of the 2 remaining suits. Diamonds is the higher ranking, clubs is the lower ranking of those 2 suits. If your partner leads a small heart to get to your jack, she's saying, please return a club. Perhaps she's got the king jack. She wants you to lead through whatever the declarer has. Let's say she returned that she led the 7 of hearts to get to your jack. Now she's telling you, partner, I would like for you to return a diamond. So that's an example of suit preference. It's a very valuable example, and I'll be covering all kinds of examples of suit preference next week. But I did just want to toss this out today. I don't want you to get hung up on it or even bother with remembering it today. But I thought this would be a chance for me to at least to begin mentioning it. These defensive signals that you have can be extremely valuable to you in the play of the hand. And once you become familiar with them and you know what to watch for, you will notice that your level of play, the number of contracts you set or hold to just one, not let them make an extra trick, will vastly improve. Okay, so books have been written on attitude signal. I certainly just skimmed the surface last week, but I think you have enough, and you've already used attitude enough in your play all this time that you've been playing, that you're familiar with the attitude signal. Today, I want to focus on the count signal. primarily the count signal is one that you give to each other, the defenders give to each other, when the declarer is either leading from her hand or she's leading from the dummy. Defenders give each other count. There is one time, however, that defenders give count when they have led a suit. It is specifically when your partner leads the king of a suit. Maybe it's the opening lead, she leads the king. Most players today, when your partner leads the king of a suit, you are asking for your partner to give you count. If you have an even number, you play a high card, highest one you can afford to play. If you have an odd number, you play a low card. You're trying to give count to your partner. Now, why is this important? Well, maybe when the dummy comes down, there's 3 or 4, maybe 4 or more cards of the suit that your partner led. Perhaps she's afraid to cash her other big card for fear that the declarer will trump it. So when you give her the count, either an odd number or an even number, she will know, okay, is it going to be safe for me to cash this other card or not, my other big card or not? That can be very, very important to you. Certainly she doesn't want to cash that other big card if it's going to set up maybe an honor card that's sitting on the board, sitting in the dummy. So that's the one time that when the defenders are actually on lead that you do give count. Whenever your partner leads the king of a suit, she is asking for you to give count. Low card means you have an odd number. High card means you have an even number. Okay, but primarily the count signal deals when the declarer is playing. If she's voluntarily leading a suit, attitude no longer comes into play. Attitude no longer comes into play. Karen, you wanted to speak?
Yeah. Have you started the lesson? We're all getting this blank sheet. I think it's confusing people. Are you, have you not rolled
I
it up?
have not scrolled down to the lecture part yet.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, it's coming in a minute.
Okay, thank you.
All right, I am going to scroll down to it now. Okay, we looked at the attitude signal last week. Today we're looking at the count signal. When the declarer thank you so much, Karen. When the declarer leaves out of her hand or out the dummy, the attitude signal is useless. If she's attacking the suit, it's hardly likely that you as the defenders are going to have anything in the suit. But what you want to do is to give each other count. So when I talk about a plain suit there, I mean any suit that she's leading other than trump. You want to tell your partner how many cards you have in the suit. If you have an even number, you play a high card. If you have an odd number, you play a low card. Now, some people reverse it. They play a low card for one and a high card for the other. I like to keep things simple. So with the partners with whom I play, if I play a high card, they know I've got an even number. If I play a low card, I'm telling I have an odd number. Now, again, I need to preface this with saying you have to play whatever you're dealt. Sometimes if you're dealt a singleton jack, that's all you got to play it. All right, I want to look at the example below, and I want to begin by looking at the bidding. I hope all of you can see the hand. South is the opener, has 22 big points sitting there, count them up. Everybody in here would open 2 no trump with that hand, I think. West, you're certainly not going to put in a bid. And if you are North, you don't even need to think. You're going to go straight to 3 no trump. You have that wonderful 5 card, king, queen, jack, 10 sequence. 6 points. Your partner's open 2 no trump. She's got at least 20 points, 20, 21 points. 3 no trump is the contract. It should just be 2 no trump, 3 no trump. And now West doesn't know a whole lot, but she does know a whole lot. One thing she knows, West, in trying to determine what your opening lead is going, you know that North did not bid Stayman. North did not bid 3 diamonds to transfer to hearts, did not bid 3 hearts to transfer to 3 spades. So you're not expecting a 4 card major or a 5 card major coming down in the dummy. So I'm looking at that, and if I were West, I would leave the 7 of hearts, and so she does. So let's look at the play of the hand. West leads the 7 of hearts. Doesn't matter whether the 6 or the 5 is played, it's not going to win. You, East, need to play your jack, and that forces declares queen. All right, now if I were to declare in this hand, I wouldn't fool around cashing the ace, king, queen, jack of spades, and anything else in this hand. Trick 2, I want to go ahead and try to get those clubs set up. I don't want to give the defenders a chance to signal or do any funny business on me. So I would lead not the 8 of clubs, but I would lead the 4 of clubs. So you lead the 4 of clubs. The entire outcome of this hand is going to depend on when East takes her ace. If South had the ace, it's over with. I mean, he's going to get 5 tricks there. But it doesn't look like that. If you're West, it does not look as if South has the ace. Otherwise, she would play the ace and then go over there and play the king. She certainly doesn't want to block the suit. So it's extremely important that West give count. You have 3, you have the 9, the 3, and the 2. You have 3 cards. You should play the 2. King comes off the board. And now East, she can see 5 on the board. She's got 3, that's 8. She's playing you for 3. She's playing West for 3. That's 11. 11 from 13 leaves 2. I don't think South would have opened 2 no trump with a singleton club and it not be an honor. It can't possibly be an honor because you're looking at the king, queen, jack, 10, and East is sitting over here with the ace. So East correctly figures out that the South hand has just 2 clubs. Now it could be that maybe your partner had a singleton too. That's unlikely, but it could have happened. If that's the case, it doesn't matter when you take your ace, the guy's going to get the 4 tricks out of the club suit. So, do you take it on the first trick? Leaves the 4, West plays the 2, king comes off the dummy. If you take the ace now, declarer is going to take 11 tricks because he has another club to get over there. He's going to take 11 tricks, and I expect at the end of the hand, 100% or so is going to, at least maybe 90% or so, is going to go to this guy, the north-south pair. If East is timid and holds up to the 3rd round, making good and sure that that South does not have a 3rd club, takes her ace on the 3rd times it played, then declarer will make exactly 9 tricks. She'll make her contract, and she'll probably get 60%, somewhere along there. But if East takes her ace when the queen of clubs is led, she ducks it when the king is played. She's playing her partner for 3. She's playing South for 2. If she waits and she takes her ace when the queen of clubs is led, now the dummy is dead. There is no way in the world, no matter how South plays it, she cannot get over to the north hand, and she goes set on this hand. And guess who's going to get the really good board? It's going to be the east-west people. If you don't give the count signal, do you see that East is just going to kind of have to guess when to take that ace? Certainly, I don't think she'd take it the ace the first time, but she may wait and hold up till the 3rd time. And by that time, the guy's going to make 9 tricks. But if she correctly takes it the 2nd lead, when the queen is led, the east-west sets the contract. So you see how valuable that count by West comes. And all of this that I have here is just describing what I just now said, that you need to take it. What you want to do is to take your ace, take your big card when the declarer has no more in her hand. And the only way you're going to know that for sure is if your partner gives correct count. If she had more than 3, maybe your partner had a singleton 2, then it doesn't matter. She's going to make her hand anyway. All right, I want to look at a second example here. And I'm just basically, this is what I've said, the count signal, how valuable it is. It is extremely valuable when you're looking at a dummy in which there's a long suit and there's no outside entry. All right, let's look at this next example. We'll look at the bidding first. South is the opener, opens a spade, 17 points, 6 spades. I don't think I would open a no trump with 2 doubletons like that, and particularly because you don't have anything. If you had maybe the king X of hearts, you might want to open a no trump, but I think you should open a spade with this hand. West does not have a bid. The north hand has 8 points, has 3 spades. I think everybody in here would bid 2 spades with that hand. And now south coming back to south, south has instead of having 5 spades, she has that wonderful 6th spade. She knows her partner has 3 spades, at least 3 spades. She has 2 doubletons. She has rich cards. She has aces. She doesn't have jacks and things like that. She has ace, queen of her. She has solid spade suit. She has 2 big aces sitting there. She has two singletons. So she goes all the way to 4 spades. Now, West kind of needs to decide what she's going to lead. I would not lead a club away from the king jack. You may not want to lead the jack X lead away from your jack of spades. You might accidentally get something with the spade, but that's probably not probable. The heart suit doesn't look good, so maybe the diamond, anyway, let's say she chose to lead the 3 of diamonds or the 8 of diamonds, whichever one you lead. Let's say she led, in my example, I've had her lead the 3 of diamonds. Because she leads the 3 of diamonds, queen comes off the dummy, east plays the king, and declarer takes her ace. Now, you are the declarer. Everybody pretend that you put yourself in the seat of the declarer. Declarer has no reason in this hand to delay drawing trumps. Now, there are times when you should not draw trumps, particularly if you have a loser in your hand that you need to rough in the dummy before you draw all your trumps. But looking at this hand, she does not have anything that she needs to trump over there. What she's hoping to do is to get the hearts set up. You've led the diamond, she's taken her ace, she's going to pull trumps, and what she's hoping to do is to get the king of hearts, one of those hearts set up to discard one of her club losers. And that way she will lose a diamond, and she will lose a club, and she'll lose a heart, and she will make her contract. But notice that once that queen of diamonds is gone, there are no entries over there. She can't get over there by underleading the 9, 8, or 7 of spades because they're all bigger than her 6, 5, 4. So this is the time that ears need to be that your thought processes need to be in full gear and say, oh, she doesn't have any way to get over there. She has no outside entry. Okay, so going back to the play of the hand, there's no reason for declarer to delay drawing trumps on this hand. In a lesson on down the road, I'm going to talk about when you should draw trumps and when you should not draw trumps. This is not a hand where you should delay drawing trumps. You draw your trumps. So you play 2 rounds and they draw. That doesn't help you any though, because you can't get over there. All your small cards are bigger than the ones on the board. So you lead your 7 of hearts. West has to give count. You have 4. Play the 6, play the highest one you got there. The 4 little ones, don't fool around playing the 5, play the 6. King comes off the board. And now East has to figure out when to take her ace. She wants to take her ace when the declarer no longer has any more hearts to lead, because there's no other way she can get over there. So when you play the 6, hopefully your partner will figure out that you have got an even number and that you've got 4. If the declarer had 3, she doesn't have any problem. Once she knocks that ace out, then she's home. She's in glory. She's in clover. She's going to make her hand. It's only if she's got 2 that it matters. So you should play the 6 of hearts if you were West. King comes off, the declarer should duck. I mean, East should not play her ace, but when the queen is led, she should correctly play her ace of hearts. And now the declarer can never make this hand. The dummy is dead. She has no way to get over there to get the other heart so that she can discard one of her club losers. So I'm thinking you're seeing here how very important it is that you should give count as much as you possibly can. All right, so this is basically just talking about, you can read through, this is basically what I have just now talked to you about. Now, I want to digress just for a minute. When you play in a game, you play 21 boards, let's say. As soon after it's over with, you know, I've given you all an assignment that I want you to all look at your opening leads and evaluate your opening leads. When you made the opening lead or your partner made the opening lead, I'm going to add an additional assignment to you right now. When you play those 21 boards and the game is over with, I want you to go back and the ones that you made the 0 on, the 5% on, the 18% on, you don't have any boards like that, do you? The 25%, 30%, if you got 40% or more, I don't think there's much need perhaps to look at those boards, but go back and look at the ones, as painful as it is, go back and look at the ones where you got your low scores. Try to figure out what you didn't do right. What maybe the opening lead was bad. Try to analyze. Maybe you missed the signal that your partner, or maybe you didn't give the correct signal. Excuse me just a minute. Try to figure out why you got the low board. Now, it could be something as simple as they were the only ones that got to 3-no trump. They happened to be playing you. 3-no trump's there all day long. The other guys just didn't get to it. The other tables didn't get to it. So you got a 0. Or maybe this crowd knew to stop at 3 hearts instead of going to 4 hearts, and everybody else went to 4 hearts and they went set. Somehow they stopped in 3 hearts and happened to be playing you. If that's the case, then you don't worry about it. But what you want to do is to go back through all those hands, the ones that you made the low scores on. It's nice to look at the ones you got 98% on or 89% on. You're feeling really good about those. It's quite painful to look at the ones that you got the low scores on. But I'm telling you, where you are going to learn the most and where it's going to help you the most is if you make yourself look at those boards. And, you know, with this technology, you can go back and see everybody who played that hand. And you can click on the play of trick by trick and see what they did, to see how they made the extra trick or how they set it. One more trick than you did. And that's how you learn. I still do it. I've been doing it for 2 years now. I do it now. I do it as soon as I can after I've played in the game. I actually do a written analysis of those hands, trying to figure out what happened. If it's something as simple as they got to 3-no trump, nobody else did, then you don't even pay any more attention to it. But I want to make that an assignment to you, that you analyze your hands, the hands that are it's painful, but that's how you're going to learn. You learn from those hands. All right, should you always give count? You know, we have people who are religious on giving count. If you got an even number, you play a high one. If you got an odd number, you play a low one. Should you always give your partner count? Well, some people are religious and they do it no matter what. But there are times you should not give count. And I want to talk about that just a little bit. When you give count, you not only tell your partner information, but you also tell the declarer information. It's like when we went over the rule of 11. The rule of 11, the declarer can subtract the card led from 11 too and know how many cards are out. So it's a double-edged sword here. When you give count, you don't think the declarer is not watching what you played. So she can use that information just as well as the two defenders can. All right, let's look at this example. This is the spade suit. Declare plays the ace and the king. And let's say that West gives count, she plays the 6, showing an even number, small card off the dummy. East gives count, playing the 8. Now the ace of spades is played by South, and now West plays the 3, small one off the board, and East plays the 2. So now Declare has watched this. So when she leads the 7 and you come out with the 9, she's going to put the 10 on, and then she's going to cash the queen, and she is going to win all 4 tricks in the suit. This is a time when West should not give count. It doesn't matter to East. It doesn't matter if you fool East. You want to fool the declarer. You know that East has nothing in it. You know she's got a doubleton because she's played the 8. It's not important for her to know that you have 4 cards. You want to do what we call make a false card. So when that ace is played, you see 4 cards in the dummy. I would play the 3. And then when the king's played, I'd play the 6, trying to make the declarer think that you have 3, or that you have 3. And pretty like if she plays the 7, she more than likely is not going to play the 10. She's going to play the queen. But you see, you give the whole game away if you play the 6 and then the 3. Now she knows that she can successfully play the 10 on the 3rd and then the queen, and she wipes out the whole suit. So there are times when you do not want to give count. Just as an aside, I have started doing this on my own, but when I'm playing, if I have like maybe the queen 8x and the king jack XX is on the board and the declarer leads, I've on purpose put the 8 in, false carding, and you would be surprised how many times that declarer goes up with the king, and now I'm home free. I'm going to get my queen of hearts. And that happens at least about once a week. I've done that because I know it doesn't matter to my partner. I'm not hurting my partner in any way by making that play. It's called making a false card. I don't want to downplay count. You want to give count. You specifically want to give count whenever there is a long suit in the dummy and no outside entries. It is imperative that you give it then. And a lot of other times it's imperative that you give it. You don't want to give it when it gives information to the declarer and it's not going to be helpful. It doesn't matter to your partner. It's not going to be helpful to her. You're not fooling her. All you're trying to do is to fool the declarer. Okay, the next thing I want to look at is a classic. It's one that's talked about in the annals. It comes from the book that I suggested to you last week. One of the 2 books that Eddie Cantor wrote, Defensive Bridge Play. Both sides are vulnerable. The dealer is South. And let's look at the hand. 1 diamond bid by South. And so you're thinking 4 diamonds, at least 12 points. You pass. West doesn't have anything. 2 clubs comes out of the north hand. Now this is not the 2/1 game for us, but anyway, let's say you bid 2 clubs. This was the way the hand was written up. Certainly South is going to have to make another bid. And South goes ahead then and bids 3 no trump. I don't know. They get to 3 no trump. Opening lead, with West's hand, I would lead the jack of spades. I think everybody would lead the jack of spades. It's a perfect sequence. It's not going to give away a trick. So it's the best hand you can make with the best lead you can make with the West hand. All right, the play of the hand. Okay, so the jack of spades is led. When the jack of spades is led, you have an equal honor. You have the queen, East. So you should show your partner that you do by playing the 8. Declare wins with the king. At trick 2, and I don't know if I'm going to have to come back up here so you can see the hand. At trick 2, the declarer plays the 10 of clubs. So what you're going to do is he's going to play the 10 of clubs and he's going to let it ride. Or you're going to take your king. Now, you don't want to think about it too long. I mean, if you're virtual, you know, you can grimace and sigh and everything else, and he's not going to know it. Of course, you don't want to wait too long. You want to be ready to play. You're either going to play the king or you're going to play the 6. If you're in the room, in the actual room, you don't want to go through all the sighing and contortions and scratching your head and groaning and moaning. You need to play with a stoic face. Of course, it doesn't matter when you're playing virtually, but it does matter when you're in the actual room. On this hand, you want to play the 6. You want to put it out there just as soon as you can pop it out there on the board. And you know what South is going to do? She's going to say, aha, I know where the king of clubs is. And so she's going to lead the 5 and she's going to finesse the queen or the jack. And now you pop up with the king and there's going to be a very upset South. And you say, well, maybe she'll play the ace and I've lost my king. Okay, look at it this way, guys. Sorry, didn't mean to use that terminology. Look at it this way. Surely, if you do take the king of clubs the first time the club is led, you get one trick. She's going to make her contract. The only possible way that you have to set this hand is to not take the king of clubs on the first trick. Your partner plays the 3. She's played the 3 of clubs, telling you she's got an odd number. You just put your 6 out there quickly as you can punch the mouse to put it up there to play the card. I would say 99% of the declarers are now going to play the 5 and they're going to finesse the queen. And you play your king, and now you come back with the queen of spades. What your partner led, she led the jack, you come back with queen of spades, and she's not going to make this hand. She will not make the hand. The way you have to look at this, do you get your one trick and she makes the contract? Or do you give yourself a chance to set this hand? That's what you're playing for. It's the same thing when you have to make a finesse. Please excuse me. And you're scared to take the finesse. If that's the only way you can make the hand, then you got to take the finesse. You're trying to give yourself a chance to either set the contract, I'm sorry, or if you're the declarer, to make the contract. So this is a classic hand. It's in all the books. I don't know how many of you, raise of hands, would you play the 6 or would you play the king the first time when the 10 of clubs is led? Would you have the nerve to duck it the first time? I'm seeing you grinning, but the only way you got a chance, I can see some, Patty saying, I don't know if I would or not, but you see the rationale I just told you is that that's the only way you can set the hand. You give up getting your one trick. If she does play the ace and drops your king, so be it. But I'll guarantee you that most declarers are not going to play it that way. They think that they have located the king of clubs and that's the way they're going to play it. Okay, I want to look at a few card combinations. Today, we're looking at several hands. You are missing the king and the jack, and we want to play these combinations in such a way as to maximize the number of tricks that you can take. Here, you're in your hand, you lead a small one, you should finesse the 10. You must finesse the 10 first, and I'll tell you why in a minute. You finesse the 10, if it holds, then you know that the king, jack are both over here on your left. You get back to your hand, and now you finesse the queen. That holds, and now you play the ace, hoping that each of the defenders held 3 cards, and you wipe out, you take all 4 tricks. Normally, I think it's going to be one honor, the honors are going to be split. But as we said, the whole purpose here was to try to get as many tricks as you can. You first finesse the 10. Let's say you finesse the queen first, and it holds. Now this West guy sitting over here with the king jack, And either one he plays is going to force your ace the second time it's led, and now he's going to get a trick. The only way that you can get all 3 or 4 tricks out of this hand is to finesse the 10 first. All right, in that hand you had 7 cards. In the next hand you've got 8 cards between the 2 hands. Again, you finesse the 9, get back to your hand, and finesse the queen. I think you're going to lose. You are going to lose at least 1 trick, but you are going to get 4 because the 10's probably going to get a trick. Probably the 10's going to be sitting over here on the right. But you are going to pick up 4 tricks in the suit. On the third hand, here you have 9 cards. So we've gone from having 7 cards, 8 cards, to 9 cards. The only way to play this without any knowledge is to play the ace, cash the ace, and lead towards the queen. You're hoping that king doubleton is on your right, and you're hoping to get at least 2 tricks, maybe 3 tricks that way. If the king is over here on your right, then the queen stands up, and possibly you're going to get 3 tricks out of the suit. Now, Chuck was not able, Bricken was not able to be with us today, but he sent me some hands he wanted me to discuss. You're in a 3-no trump contract, and a small spade has been led, and you held the following combination. You have king X in one hand, jack third in the other. This is all you've got in the spade suit, and the guy's led a small spade, and you're in 3-no trump. How do you play this combination? Okay, let me refer you back. You all know these combinations where you have the queen X in one hand, jack third in the other, or else you have the jack doubleton and queen third in the other. You duck. You duck the first time it's played, a big card will come out, or else you're going to get your jack or your queen. If a big card comes out, then you play the next one, and your third card is going to set up. If you play the queen, you're not going to get any tricks in the suit at all. So this substitute the king for the queen sitting up there, and you duck. You will guarantee yourself 1 trick, and that's all you're getting out of that suit. So it's just exactly like the queen X, jack third thing. You duck, you'll guarantee yourself of 1 trick. Here, you have the jack X on the dummy and king third in your hand. This combination looks sort of like the one above, but it's different. Here you play the jack. If the jack is ever going to win a trick, it has to do so now. You hope the guy is led from the ace queen XX. He's led a small one. You hope West is led from the ace queen. You play the jack, and it holds. Now what you have to be very careful that you do is you take all the finesses that you have to take in this hand, you take into the West. In other words, you lead small from the board and you finesse through your hand into West. West cannot hurt you by leading another spade. If she does so, she lets you get the king. So you might have the possibility of getting 2 tricks with that particular combination. Same thing here, same principle as above. If the queen is going to win, it wins now. You're hoping she led from the ace jack. You play the queen and it holds. Again, you have to be very careful to take all the finesses into the safe hand. The safe hand is West. If she's in, she can play her big ace of spades, but she's then going to have to give you the king, and you'll end up getting 2 tricks in the suit. In this combination, you duck. You had 3 to the king, 3 to the queen. If East plays the ace, now both your king, queen are good. If East plays a card and you take your queen, then your king sets up possibly as another stopper. But maybe not. But you give yourself a chance to have a double stopper. All right, I got a pop quiz for you now, and we're pretty much getting close to the end. The contract is 3-no trump. Your partner has led the 10 of spades. Small one comes off the board. Clara wins, and she leads the diamond at trick 2. What do you play, West? You've led the 10 of spades, and it's been captured by the declare. And at trick 2, she is leading the diamond. You notice that the king, queen, jack, 10 of diamonds sitting on the board. You want to give count, don't you? So which one do you play? Play the 7. You play the highest one. Don't bother with the 6. Play the 7. Trying to tell your partner that you have an even number. Hopefully she'll figure out you've got 4. It could just be that your partner has the ace of hearts, which keeps her from getting over there with the king of hearts. If your partner knows when to take the ace of diamonds, if she does have the ace of diamonds, then you probably have a good chance of setting this contract. All right, this hand came from a book by Dorothy Hayden Truscott. I recommend this book highly to you. She has written 2 books. This one is Bid Better, Play Better, How to Think at Bridge. Just a little aside on her, she is one of the greatest women players that ever lived. She died in 2006. In 1998, she was inducted to the ACBL Hall of Fame, which is no small feat. There are not that many people there. My husband, Bob, played against her at least 2 times, 2 tournaments. He said she was a tremendous player, but he said what struck him the most about her was that she had card sense, C-A-R-D-S-E-N-S-E. That is something you cannot teach. Before some of you got here today, we were talking about how important just having that 6th sense, the card sense. The really great players seem to know when to duck. They seem to know when to pass out at 3 instead of going to 4 and going set. They have that card sense. My husband said she had that and that she was a fabulous player, and it was one of his great honors to get to play against her. Okay, next week we're going to look at the suit preference. And again, let me encourage you, should you have any questions at all, please get in contact.